So today, it's come to my attention that Cygames and Konami have come to a settlement regarding a patent disagreement on the game Umamusume. I had no idea about this. This is actually pretty big. So, since March 2023, there's been a lawsuit going on. Konami filed a lawsuit against Cygames regarding Umamusume and them infringing upon potentially 18 patents on their IP. They wanted 4 billion yen in this lawsuit, $26 million, and wanted to cease all production of the game from Cygames, which is actually insane. So we're going to talk about this. We've got a press release from Cygames here, guys. We're going to talk about a little article that's here, and we're going to also talk about potentially one of the patents that might have been infringed if that was the case. It was never officially announced, but experts believe they kind of assume one of them with a decent amount of certainty what the actual patent can be. So we're going to talk about that today. Let me know what you think down below. This, I didn't know about this. This is actually kind of huge. So yeah, man, let's talk about it, shall we? So if we start over here with this IGN article here, we can see that they've obviously resolved the disagreement and Cygames have offered to pay the settlement, basically. So back in March 2023, Konami filed a lawsuit against Cygames claiming that Cygames' Umamusume Pretty Derby infringed upon 18 of its patents. Konami originally called for over 4 billion yen, so that's about $26 million, and they wanted the game to cease all production. And obviously, this is a game now that's printing cash, right? Actually, kind of wild. So, both Konami and Cygames expressed respect for each other's creators and games in their press release about the settlement. Cygames stated in their group company respects the efforts of the creators at the companies in both game industry, including Konami Digital Entertainment, and the numerous games they have created. In turn, Konami commented that we will respect each other's creative works and strive to provide content and services that please our customers. So basically, that's them saying, well, maybe no hard feelings, here's some cash, and Konami have gone, well, thank you for the cash. We'll leave you alone now, you know, because that's one of the reasons why they definitely went after him, because Umamusume has been absolutely printing cash. So, you see this here. According to the press release from 2023, Cygames have been in discussion with Konami about patent rights pertaining to certain aspects of Umamusume's Pretty Derby's game systems and programs. However, it seems Konami disagreed with Cygames and filed the lawsuit, so they'd obviously been butting heads and having a conversation about this, probably trying to get an internal private settlement agreed upon, and Cygames are like, nah, not happening. So they obviously then went on to file the lawsuit 2 years ago now. So both companies being secretive about exactly which aspects of Umamusume Pretty Derby caused the disagreement, considering Konami's history of making sports management games like Powerful Pro Baseball. It is possible that Umamusume Pretty Derby's in-game system for training its anime horse girls was part of the issue, which might be correct actually, because we do have some of the potential patents here. But before we get into the actual patents, if you look here over at the press release from Cygames, we can see that they've said that they don't believe they infringed upon any patents of Konami, but they've offered to pay out the money to make sure the game continues service. So we can see here, the Cyber Agent Group respects the efforts of creators at companies in the game industry, including Konami Digital Entertainment, and the numerous games they have created. Through this settlement, we will once again strive for further development of the game industry. And we go on to this. 1. Background from filing of the lawsuit to settlement. Since being sued on March 31st, 2023, Cygames has requested invalidation trials for all 18 patents involved in the lawsuit and remains confident that no patent infringement has occurred. However, Cygames decided to settle the dispute in order to resolve it promptly and ensure that users of Umamusume Pretty Derby can enjoy the service at ease in the long term. So this can mean two things here, because this has been going on for 2 years, right? So it's not exactly like lawsuits tend not to move very quickly, right? Especially corporate lawsuits. They'll come at each other, they'll drag things out for as much as possible and attempt to spend more in the courts a lot of the time. So two things, in my opinion, have happened here. Cygames maybe were realizing that potentially they might have been on the losing end of the case here and have just decided to pay out to avoid that happening. Or they genuinely have just decided this is just going on for far too long now. We're both willing to butt heads for as long as it takes. Let's just pay them out so we can continue on making the game, because we are actually printing cash here. which either way makes sense for side games, really, doesn't it? For them to be able to continue the game, it's been a runaway success. So why risk, like, a problem within this money flow at the end of the day? So this is actually insane. So if we go down to here, for details of the settlement, the terms of the settlement will not be disclosed except as required by law or regulation in accordance with confidentiality obligations. So basically they're saying, we're not going to tell you what's going on unless we're required to by lawmakers or regulators. So at the moment, we are not going to see what's exactly happened. So it just says, future outlook, the impact of this matter on our consolidated earnings and consolidated forecast will be minor. So basically, it hasn't cost them too much by the looks of things. That shows how much money they're making, right? And I'm imagining that was worth the hit rather than dealing with potentially losing the lawsuit. So it could be that they've paid out less than what Konami initially requested, because, it's a good way to go in and then, ask for this much, and then if they offer you 50% of that, take it. May as well. You've cashed your check, basically, but we don't actually know the specifics until obviously lawmakers or regulators force the hand of either of these two companies. But we move on here. So obviously we're just looking at Google here, and we know that they potentially infringed on patents related to game systems. So the specific patents were not officially disclosed in the initial lawsuit, but it is believed the infringement pertained to the game's training and support character systems, which is a common element in Konami's own sport management games. The lawsuit, which was settled in November 2025, obviously sought damages and injunction against the game. So if we look at these here, likely focus, experts speculate the infringement was related to the game system for training characters and the use of support cards to affect game events, a system similar to those found in Konami Powerful Pro Baseball series. One source suggests the patent in question was likely patent number 5814300. And if we look that up, right, we can see here a Japanese patent, not a US patent, under the number 5814300, held by Konami, relates to a game system where specific events occur based on a user-selected characters. This system is used in Konami's popular Powerful Pro Baseball series. I've never heard of it, but baseball's actually pretty big in Japan, isn't it, anyway? Specifically in the character training success mode, which I would imagine somewhat similar to what you've got in Umamusume. I'm no expert in Umamusume. I played it for a bit on launch, but I've not really played it much since. But I know the overall loop of the gameplay in Umamusume, so kind of makes sense. It's probably something similar. You're going through that whole system of training them up and then actually throwing them in to do the whatever you're doing while you sit back and watch, I'm guessing, play a game of baseball, I'm assuming. So the invention description, the patent covers a game management device with a setting means an event management means setting means allows the user to select at least one first character, often a support card character in the game, from their owned characters and set it for event occurrence. Event management means a specific in-game event is generated according to the selected first character or combination of characters during gameplay. So these sorts of things, the wording sounds really specific, but in regards to a lot of the gameplay systems we're used to, there's so many games that can come under those sort of wording when we talk about this sort of stuff in video games, right? It is kind of crazy that we've seen a lawsuit happening like this that's kind of around support characters and the actual training of your units going into the gameplay loop itself. This mechanism allows the integration of support characters into a training scenario, influencing the game's story and events. So it became widely known during a 2023 patent infringement lawsuit filed by Konami against Cygames over their game Umamusume Pretty Derby, which uses a similar system. The lawsuit was settled in November 2025 under confidential terms. So, although we don't know exactly what's happened here, now I don't know the specifics of this baseball game, so I can't attest to how similar it is. So if any of you guys have played that, let me know down below. Is it like a pretty much one-for-one carbon copy? Because there's a lot of systems within video games that can kind of overlap into different games, right? But actually filing a patent on something like that, well, it's not that it's unknown, right? There's a lot of companies, especially in JP, are very litigious, who don't like you even getting close to infringing on potential things that they see as their own, which I understand from a company standpoint, but they are quite litigious in Japan. Like, we know big bad Nintendo are very litigious when it comes to things like that, because we saw the Power World case. But by the looks of it, this looks like, I say, it was either close enough for Cygames to potentially be worried that things might not go their way, or they were just worried that this was going to drag on for too long and maybe cost too much money. But as I say, they do say the impact of this matter on their consolidated earnings and consolidated forecast will be minor. So I don't know if that's just them maybe gaslighting us that, hey, didn't really cost us that much, while it might have cost them a lot, because obviously this isn't going to be made public unless forced to by the law or regulations. It's interesting to see that if they say that, but they also actually settled the lawsuit, it makes me think then, if it didn't cost them too much, and it hasn't been costing them too much, were they worried that they were potentially going to lose this lawsuit then? Again, this has come out of nowhere for me. I didn't even know this was happening. So let me know if you play Umamusume or that, what is it, the Powerful Pro Baseball series. Did you know about this? I haven't really heard anybody talking about this actually in the space, and there's actually quite a few people who love Umamusume in my Discord who talk about it on a regular basis. So let me know, guys. Did you know about this? And if you played both games, are the systems similar? Because yeah, this is pretty freaking huge actually. Big lawsuit. It's been settled. Side Games have obviously evidently paid a bit of cash over to Konami, and they've even put it out in this press release. Very succinct, short press release as well. They obviously want to move on from this. I like the fact that they've said, hey, we're still chill, guys, right? We're all chill. It's all good. It's all good, right? And yeah, big one, man. Guys, let me know what you think down below. And like I say, I'd love to know if you play both games. Can you see what they're talking about there? Is it like an infringement, would you think? But guys, if you've enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all in the next one. Ta-ra.